ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I certainly didn't. Actually, I half did, half didn't. My computer started working a little bit better, and then it didn't. Right now, I was in the middle of doing something really cool, but I can't talk about that, like, ever, so I won't. Uh, Speaking of stuff that's difficult to do, how about launching an online game? Or the online portion of a game? I'm looking at you, Rockstar, and Grand Theft Auto 5. A lot of people were giving them some serious shit about how, to use a phrase, rough the launch of Grand Theft Auto 5's multiplayer was. And it's hard not to rib them a little bit, but at the same time, it's the biggest game release of this year. So far. Probably of this year. Because Call of Duty and Battlefield and Assassin's Creed are all going to be staggered. There's people going to buy it when it first comes out. Then there's going to be people that are buying it for the next gen version. And that's going to be a staggered release, which is going to be good. It's going to give them something to compensate for. Grand Theft Auto 5, they had over 5 million people to take care of at once, potentially trying to play the game. You can't handle that amount of traffic. It's the reason why, these game consoles the next gen consoles aren't launching in 77 countries. They're launching in, less than 30 all told. And are releasing more and more as the year ends and as the next year begins. It's just what has to happen in order for this shit not to break on launch. And they're deciding to compensate by giving $500,000 of in-game currency, which is good because some people lost characters. I've heard of people who had, level 20 or 30 characters or something, and poof, they're gone. They afforded, the biggest house in the game, which is only, $400,000. So then you're going to expand that, obviously enough. And they had, all these weapons and all these cars, and just, it's gone. Bye-bye. Into the nether. Which is unfortunate. I won't deny that. You never want to have that sort of shit happen to your characters. But with the hyper-online ecosystem like Grand Theft Auto, that's going to happen. And hopefully it doesn't continue. Because looking at how gaming is trending, Grand Theft Auto 5 was next gen before next gen started. It had this connected ecosystem, which is something that a lot of games are looking to do. You look at something like, in theory, what Destiny or what the Division is going to do. Now, granted, you could say that this sort of stuff already happened with MMOs, World of Warcraft or EverQuest or something like that, but not to such a scale where everyone interacts in such a crazy way. I mean, it seems like this is theoretically what they're going for, which is nuts. It is honestly kind of scary. The notion that as we progress through gaming, we're going to hit new stuff at every single turn. But at every turn, we could get burned by the very mechanics that keep us going. Which is, to me, one of the strongest cases for maybe holding back on an entirely digital future. I mean, who knows what happens when everything just up and gets deleted, or the servers get turned off. I mean, people complain about games being taken offline now, but imagine when it's not just a yearly release, but it's the only time this game's ever existed, and suddenly it's gone. That's scary to think about. But I think that the example that was set by Grand Theft Auto Online has proven that you need to be ready, and that softer rolling launches are better. Could Rockstar have saved themselves some grief by maybe people who have completed the game before Grand Theft Auto launch, GTAO launched, have given it to them first? Reward the people who have really spent some time playing your game, but let them play the most anticipated part of your game or a very anticipated part of the game early? I think so. I mean, you look at how alphas and betas work, and they're meant to alleviate some of that issue, but they don't always work perfectly with online games. But stemming from that, when you think about why the open world combined with the isolated instance mixes together so well with Grand Theft Auto being a game that isn't an MMO but still feels like it, but it isn't. And that again goes back to the next gen thing that I have of a lot of games are having this MMO but not MMO feeling because they don't want to spend the money that it takes to get an MMO up and running because MMOs are expensive. You can't deny that. Now, granted, they did spend $235 million making Red Dead Auto 5, so yeah. But hey, it's their money. They're gonna do with it what they see fit and what serves their purpose best, right? Just think about the future, which I think will be the takeaway from this episode. Think about the future. What can go right? What can go wrong? And what the best parts of it are. Because if you think about it, there's a lot of good stuff coming our way. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I shall see all of you later.